Alrighty guys, I've been getting a lot of questions recently about 67 seatbelts and the differences, which ones there are. And so I just thought I'd make a quick video on the differences that I see and the different belts that I have. So I'm gonna start you off right here. This is the first and the earliest iteration of a 67 seatbelt for a sedan. These are all made by a company called Klippan. So in 1966, the US government mandated that 67 model year cars had seatbelts in them. And that's when Volkswagen went with Klippan seatbelts. This is the first and earliest version. If you look at the sheath, you'll notice that there's no support right here. And so these ones tend to crack often right here, and it's very easy to tell. These ones had a webbing that is like this. This set is black, the webbing, which you'll notice here with my different versions that I've got several different colors of webbing. So that's a little nuance. This is the second version, and it's got a little bit more of a defined, and yet it's not quite as wide as this version that you'll see. This seatbelt has a completely different type of webbing here, yet still made by Klippan. Still with the same style buckle. This is the third version with the widest version right here, and this is a later and yet another style of belt webbing. So this is the gray that's very similar to this black version, only it's gray. One thing that you'll notice on these Type 1 is that some of them have a bolt here, and some of them have a riveted piece here. Now, with the bolt style, you can actually take this off and reverse these and make them left or right, even though it's not correct. The brackets themselves are left and right specific, but on this type, you can't switch the brackets. On to the next seatbelt. Right here is a black Type 3 seatbelt. Obviously, it's in poor condition. But the key here is that the mounting bracket is different for a Type 3, and the sheath is black. This is on all Type 3s for 67. Here is another one of those riveted seatbelts. Okay, so this is what is considered a 67 convertible and Karmann Ghia seatbelt. They use the same exact seatbelt in both the Karmann Ghia as well as the convertible Beetle, and this is the shorter style. So if you have a convertible, this is what you need. This is the mounting hardware for a 67 Beetle. So you should have 1, 2, 3 washers on this side, and this bracket that limits it. These are rear seatbelts for a 67 Beetle. They're extremely rare, hard to come by. These were made by American Safety and very similar to the 67 seatbelt for the front, only here is your part number 111-857-709D. Now these seatbelts are non-retracting, and they clip to this. Which there are 2 mounts underneath the rear seat, and these bolt in there. This one has a part number of 111-857-739C. So these are extremely hard to find and rare, and if you can find them, grab them. Okay, so these seatbelts, these rear seatbelts are similar but different to the Karmann Ghia seatbelt that is through, I believe, 71. These are also made by Klippan, but these are a 3-point seatbelt and not the same as your traditional Beetle Type 1 seatbelt. And in fact, those were made by American Safety once again. Okay, now last thing to talk about is the brackets. This right here is a 67 Karmann Ghia bracket. You'll notice it's shorter. This, I'm not sure. It's a later, I'm thinking Super Beetle 71 or something like that that uses a clip-in style seatbelt. These, you don't see them very often. This right here, you will notice is date coded 1971, and that is for a Super Beetle that uses these. Different in that it's just a bar. And here is your correct 1966 date coded 67 Beetle seatbelt bar, bracket, hook, whatever you want to call it. So that's all I got for 67 seatbelts and the different variations. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thanks.